Okay, so I have an idea. It sounds a bit crazy, but I really think it could work. So here's what it is. So all this your body, my choice BS. Um, I heard a woman's story the other day. You might have heard it. It's going around. She was in the dollar store and she said it was all other women shopping in there except for one man, big guy. And she could tell something was off. As he walked through the store, she could feel the women like clench up and something change in the store. And she found out why when he walked past her and said, your body, my choice. He was going through the store saying this to all the women. So they got the manager. The manager escorted him outside where all the women, he said, stay inside. All the women are huddled inside, waiting while the manager escorted the man outside, made sure he got in his car, came back in and said he's gone. He's been banished from these premises, can never come back in. And I'm older. I've been putting up with this stuff for decades, and I'm so fed up with it. And like most women, when it happens to me, we freeze up because women are the only creatures on earth whose righteous anger is trained out of them from the time they're very small. So when we need it to defend ourselves, we don't have access to it. It's buried so deep. Even animals, when someone infringes on them, they go right after them. Not women, because we've so buried that part of us and detached ourselves from it. And that's what we need to get in touch with. So here's my idea. Now imagine that same scenario. This man's going around, and imagine if after he did that to the first woman, instead of her freezing up and being afraid, she went and just hissed at him. I'm telling you, it sounds crazy, but I've been doing this. Do it. And you can feel the power rise up in you. You can feel the anger rise up in you. And that's what we have to start normalizing, is defending ourselves. We're not going to take swings. We're not even going to engage verbally. They want us fearful and afraid. That's what they're getting off on, is keeping us quiet and scared. And we got to practice it. I've been practicing it for the last 24 hours. And honestly, every time you do it, just like you can feel the power and the anger rising up within you. And that's what we need to end this. We don't want to just protect ourselves. We don't want to find men that will keep us safe, even though that's all wonderful. We want to start getting in touch with our own ability to protect ourselves and each other. Because imagine if also women were used to hearing that. And all the other women in that store heard that first woman go, and they were like, ooh, someone's being terrorized. And they went and looked at the man and went, he would freak the F out, because it's one thing that these kind of men are terrified of. It's powerful women, and these super religious men are terrified of witchy women. And that's what they're going to think. Basically, we're just imitating a cat. We know how much they love cat ladies. But this will shut it down. If we react this way to someone that does that, I guarantee you they're going to think a long time before they do it to another woman, because they're not going to know if she's going to react that way, if she's going to cast this spell on them or whatever it is they want to imagine that we're doing. But it's so important for us, because it is bringing us back in touch with our own ability to defend ourselves. Remember, female humans are the only people, only species, only creatures taught that their anger is bad and to get rid of it. And that's what keeps us prey. That's what keeps us victims. So we got to find a way to combat this, not just for ourselves, but to start putting an end to it. I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds weird, but I'm telling you, just start doing it in your own house. Just every once in a while, just go, and you can feel it. You can feel that fear going away, and the power and the strength rising up. Tell the people you live with, hey, I'm going to practice this, because we got to practice it. Because for myself and so many women, we're used to freezing up. When we're physically or verbally assaulted, or things are said to us to want to make us feel afraid and in danger, we freeze, because that's what we're trained to do. So we got to practice it. Even if you tell people in your family, hey, come up behind me and say those words so I can practice just going, I'm telling you, I really think if we start spreading the word and we listen when we're out, this is important. When we're out, listen, we hear that, we go. We go. It's so important that we support each other, because that's the one thing that really works for them, is keeping us isolated and afraid. And especially, I do want to say this, be aware where we are. If there's more vulnerable people, especially black women, and it's all white people, before we leave, like, do a check. Maybe even ask her, you feel safe, sister, if I go about and do whatever, or do you feel like you need some support here? This is what women need to start doing for each other. We have so much more power than we even have allowed ourselves to imagine or believe. And I honestly believe coming together, supporting each other like this is the answer. We have been compliant and sweet and quiet for centuries. It hasn't worked. These kinds of assaults have been going on against women for centuries. I'm done. The other thing I want to say, and this, teach that to junior high girls, high school girls. Imagine these boys that are doing that to them. If they all just started hissing at them, they're not getting the reaction they want. They want us small and afraid. That's what they get off on. The other thing is the mom. This isn't mine. I heard someone else say this. If you're feeling in danger when you're out, to say, Mom, help me. Because every woman in that vicinity, whether she has children or not, is going to hear that. And that instinct in her is going to come by you. Let's remember these things. You hear someone that's feeling threatened, or that someone just walked past and said that, Mom, help me. Any woman around will come and say, what's wrong? What's going on? This is what we need to do to be a support for each other, to be advocates for each other. So I really do feel like these things can work, especially just practice it. I'm practicing it because we have to make that our natural response as opposed to shrinking and feeling assaulted. So hopefully pass it around. Let's start hissing at these people and see if that doesn't take the fun out of their your body, my choice BS.